हे गिरिधारी मुकुंद मुरारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी प्रभो हरि हे गिरिधारी मुकुंद मुरारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी प्रभो हरि पाप संहारी भवभयहारी पाप संहारी भवभयहारी भक्त मन जन रक्षककारी पाप संहारी भवभयहारी भक्त जन मन रक्षककारी जय राधे श्याम मुकुंद मुरारी जय राधे श्याम मुकुंद मुरारी जय मीरा प्रभु हृदय विहारी जय राधे श्याम मुकुंद मुरारी जय मीरा प्रभु हृदय विहारी जय राधे श्याम मुकुंद मुरारी जय मीरा प्रभु हृदय विहारी जय मीरा प्रभु हृदय विहारी मुकुंद मुरारी हृदय विहारी मुकुंद मुरारी हृदय विहारी मुकुंद मुरारी हृदय विहारी मुकुंद मुरारी हृदय विहारी Mukunda Murari Hridaya Vihari. Mukunda Murari Hridaya Vihari. He Giridhari Krishna Murari. Govardhana Giridhari Prabhu Hari. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Parthaya Pradibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusantatami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyai Stavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadghatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Nabidussura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. When I stand in front of a flowing water, a river, if I want to see my own reflection of the face in that water, it is possible to see my own face reflection in the water only when there are two conditions in the water. Number one, it should become still. Number two, it should become clean. If the water is flowing but clean, I will have reflection but distorted. If the water is still but dirty, it will be a dirty reflection, a perfect dirty reflection. In the same way, when the mind is disturbed, the experience of the self-consciousness, if the mind is agitated, the experience of that consciousness will not be there, for it is distorted by the very movement of the mind. If the mind is still but not clean, obviously there will be experience but not of consciousness. It will be the the impure nature of consciousness known as ego. Therefore, Krishna here takes up first to advise Arjuna, clean your mind. Then later he says, still your mind. So the cleaning of the mind takes place in the path of Karma Yoga. Chittasya shuddhaye karma na vastu upalabdhaye. Shankaracharya says in Megvek Chudamani. To purify the mind is the action. And all the rituals that you perform, whether at home or in the temple, it is meant for mental purity. The Lord whom you are worshipping there is not expecting you to do anything else. He is not looking for your flower or your fruit and your prasad. And even if he expects, do you give him? Show him and take it away. Is it not true? Does he take it? You offer the flower, previous day, next day morning you go, it is still there. The prasad, you leave it with him, next day you go, it is still there. Patram pushpam balam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tataham bhakti upahradam asnami prayatatmanah. That which you give, if you give it with love, that love I take and not the material that you give. So in the practice of karma or any ritual, what is expected of is giving with love, and that love means then your mind has to become pure. So here in the verse that we saw yesterday evening, by merely not working, you are not going to become clean. Your mind is not going to be pure. Not merely renunciation of all things, you will ever able to meditate. Na karmanam anarambat naishkarmyam purushoshnute nacha sanyasanas deva siddhim samadhigacchati. Na karmanam anarambat. By not doing your work, you are not going to achieve anything. The actionlessness in the seat of meditation is not merely because you don't act, but you do not have intention to act. Even in sleep you are not acting. Have you achieved anything out of sleep except restfulness? Have you gone to the sleep as a foolish mind and woke up with a very brilliant mind? Has anything happened like that? So no change takes place. Nothing happens except the relaxation of the body and the mind in the sleep. So there also no karma, there is no action. But you have not become actionless. Actionless meaning there is no absence of desire. Yesterday we saw that. Desire that is still there, but action doesn't take place in the sleep. When you wake up, desire is still there. So naishkarmyam, actionlessness you will not achieve. And steadiness in the meditation is not achieved merely by renunciation. Merely giving up does not mean you have overcome them or you have become risen above them. No. That means every beggar will become a great yogi only then. He doesn't have anything. Is it so? A beggar does not have because he cannot have. But a yogi, a man of meditation also doesn't have because he doesn't want to have. Nacha sanyasanad, merely by renunciation, merely by giving up, na siddhim samadhigacchati. You will not achieve that steadiness. So he advises Arjuna, therefore merely not working, You will not gain anything out of this. And in the absence of knowledge, whatever you do, whatever kind of sadhana that you do, you will not see any more progress because there is nothing driving you to the next level. So therefore, in the following verse he says, engage in the world, act in the world tirelessly, but withdraw in your mind. Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha. Therefore, tasmad asaktaha, detached, satatam, always, karyam karma, what you are supposed to do, samachara, engage. Asakto hi, with detachment alone, hi acharan, engaging, param apnodi purushaha, an individual obtains the highest. This idea of detached engagement has been taken by the Western world also nowadays. In the management circle they talk about detached engagement. Meaning, engage in the world with the hands and legs and the body, but mind should get detached. This is the skill. That is, when your mind is detached from what you do, your excitement and anxiety about the result is no more. What drives us to act is the desire, as I told you yesterday. Now somebody would say, if I have no desire at all, they will not act. So I often tell people, when a person, when you are asked to do something and you do that, you are a servant. When I don't tell you but you do it, that is called seva. When I tell you and you still don't do, that is called volunteering. So, how do you act in this world? Do you act only because somebody told you to act? And then you are just a servant, you are a slave. You act based upon, you are seeing the need to act, you are seeing the necessity to engage in, and then do it. But the highest skill, even seva is at the level of doing without being told, but doing the right thing without getting attached to what you are doing. So in our daily engagements of life, we have so many things to do, but most of them are driven by selfish interests. So asakti is there. Asakti means attachment. I want this, I want this, I want this. Very few of us can really do things and then say, I don't care about the result because I don't bother about whether I get it or not. If it is right thing, I will do it. One scout master, he was addressing his students saying that you should do seva or service. Help somebody. So the next week when they all came back, the master asked, okay, any of you have done any seva or service? One boy got up and said, yes, I did, sir. What? I helped one old lady cross the road. Very good. Anybody else? So the second boy got up. Yes. What did he do? I helped the first boy to I helped the old lady cross the road. Oh, okay, good. Anybody else? The third boy got up. Yes. Yeah, I helped both the boys, two of them, helped the old lady cross the road. The master was getting annoyed. Okay. Fourth. Yes. Yeah. I helped all the three boys, helped the old lady cross the road. He is getting now irritated. Why do you need 4 people to do that? Anybody else? Yes. You helped all the 4 boys help the old lady cross the road? Yes. Why do you need 5 people to make an old lady cross the road? Because she didn't want to. That is not considered as seva. You're forcefully saying, I have to do something, whether you want it or not, you better do it. Service is where you do because that is the right thing to do and do not expect result out of it for yourself. So here what we see, Krishna says, Satatam Kuru Samachara. What? Asakto hi. Now when it comes to some work here, some seva here, probably you do it detachedly. But when you do your own work at your home, which is your duty, that also to be performed without selfish interest. That's why he says, Karyam karma samachara. Karyam kartavyam. What you have supposed to do, even that you should do without selfishness. Being a husband to your wife, being a wife to your husband, being a parent to your children. Even those things which you are expected to do, even that you should do without any selfish interest. Somebody asked me, what is actually being a husband? What is my duty to be a husband? Is there anybody who can tell me, what is being a husband? What is being duty to be a wife? So somebody asked me this question. I said, I don't know about that, but anyway, I'll tell you. Being a husband means that which you do not transfer to somebody else. That's what it is. Can you be for 5 days, can you be husband to my wife, please? Do you ask somebody else to do that? You can tell, please be a wife for I am going out of station. Can you be a wife for my husband for 5 days? See, that which you alone can fulfill. Nobody else. That is called kartavyam, karyam. So in your life there are certain responsibilities you cannot transfer. That is called swadharma. See, even that which you alone can do it without any particular selfish interest. So, asaktaha satatam karyam karma samachar. Samyak, and that too you should do it well. Don't do it half-heartedly, quarter-heartedly. Wholeheartedly. Samyak achara. Very often when we do not have anything to gain out of something, we do it. Okay, it doesn't matter. We do it because it is supposed to be done. With no, interest in doing it. Do it with so much of interest and wholeheartedly. With all your skills and proficiency and all energy and all enthusiasm, you should do that. This is the skill Krishna expects us to have. Do it well. Do it for sure in the right way. Do it without selfishness. If you do that, asakto hi acharan, if you are doing it this way, such an individual, purushaha, param apnodi, he achieves the highest. Why? Because when you do this way, your mind necessarily gets cleaned. Once a student approached a teacher, a guru who was living in a small hillock. And he went to him and he said, I want to learn from you. The teacher smiled and looked at him, oh, you want to learn from me? Okay. Nowadays I am interested in doing some farming. Tomatoes I am going to plant. So he was showing the land. See, this is what I want to plow and plant the tomatoes. So what you do is, go and fetch me some water from the stream below. And he gave him a bamboo basket which is so dirty. Gave it to him. Please bring the water. Bamboo basket. You can understand what a bamboo basket is, and it's so dirty. And the stream was 100 feet down. So the boy ran, young boy, he ran, picked up the water, and he came running. By the time he came to the guru, water is gone, because it's a bamboo basket, has a lot of holes on. Here is the water. Where is the water? There is no water at all. No, but I brought it, but all the holes in it all went away. Okay, again go bring. Again he ran, picked up the water and came running. By the time he came, everything is gone. 2, 3 times, 4 times he went, and then finally he got so exhausted. He looked at the Guru. I don't think you are teaching me anything. Why? Because you are only asking me to do a laborious task and I don't learn anything out of it. So why are you asking me to do this? You know very well that the water won't stay and you are asking me to bring, it is waste. It's not a waste, he said. Why? Look at the bamboo basket now. He looked at it. It was clean. So, action is meant for becoming clean. Don't ask why am I doing this. Even when you kartavya karma, you are bound on duty as a husband, as a wife, as a parent, as a brother, as a child. That action should be done with an intention not to gain but to do the right thing. Cleans mind. Especially when you bring in the love for the Lord also into that. I'm not doing Ishwararpidam karma, na ichchaya kritam karma, chitta shodakam bhavati, mukti sadakam bhavati. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, when you offer your actions to the Lord, Ishwararpitam na ichchaya kritam, not for personal interest. Chitta shodakam mukti sadakam. Purifies the mind, paves way for liberation. So every action can be done. If every action can be done in that way, the mind remains still and clean. First of all, it cleans. Once the mind has become clean, it gains that stillness. That's why he says, therefore Arjuna, asaktaha, unattached, satatam, always. Karyam karma, bound on duties. Samachara, do it well. Asakto hi acharan, doing it with no attachment. Paramapnodi purushaha, supreme goal he gains. So at the battlefield, even though it was not a desirable situation, but Krishna says, even this situation where you are in, as a soldier, as a warrior, as a king, as a responsible king who is to lead thousands of people who are being led by you, do this action of killing the enemies detachedly. In the first portion what we saw, you are actually not killing anybody, is it not? He says what you are doing is only the bodies are getting killed, the souls are eternal. And you are punishing only the sins, not the sinners who are basically in the bodies, and they are not the bodies, they are the eternal souls. So you are punishing only the act, not the actor. Because the soul can never be killed. So therefore don't think that you are committing a crime. Secondly, he says your action is for your mind's purification. Continuing, he says, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. This statement comes later on in 18th chapter also. It is better to do this action which is supposed to be done by you and you alone, even if it is not comparably better than anybody else's. Because Arjuna thinks that instead of doing this war, why not I go and meditate? Earlier he was talking about that, remember? He says, you said knowledge is greater than action, then why not I do that? Let me become a sannyasi. He said, no, your dharma as a kshatriya is to act in the battlefield. Do that well. And it is equal to or much more than whatever you do when you change your very quality of your action or the nature of your action. You might have come across this story in Mahabharata. It's a very famous one. One yogi was sitting under a tree and he was meditating, doing tapas. Intense, very intense tapas he was doing. And as he was sitting there, It was a quiet place, and suddenly it so happened there was a crow which was sitting on the next tree, started crying. Quack, quack. He looked at her, unnecessarily disturbing me. I wish you are burnt and dead. The moment he said that, the crow got burnt and dead, fell down dead. He said, what happened? He looked down. The crow got burnt and fell down dead just because I thought about it. He suddenly felt that, oh my God, my tapas has become so powerful that the very thought of mine, what has happened? He got up with great pride. Wow, I have achieved a great siddhi, a power. So he was feeling hungry. So he walked down to the village nearby. And by the tradition, he can ask food only in 5 houses. And if the 5 houses you are turned down, no food that day. And whatever he gets on those 5 houses only he can eat. He cannot take more than 1 handful. Every day. Only 1 handful. So he went there. Bhavati bhiksham dehi, please give me food. Nobody answered. Second house, nobody. Third house, it was locked. Fourth house he went, and it was not it was inauspicious house because some death has taken. The last house, this is the house he has to have food, otherwise no food for a day. Bhavati bhiksham dehi, and fortunately there was a voice that came out, wait, I am coming. One lady has responded to him. Finally, I will get some food. After some time, there was no sign of that lady coming out. Bhavati bhiksham dehi, he little increased his voice. I am coming, just wait. Okay, waited for some more time, very hungry. He said he couldn't bear it. Bhavati bhiksham dehi. She said, wait, I am not the crow which you can burn me. What? He was shocked. What did she say? I am not a crow that you can burn? How does she know? I didn't even tweet it. Twitter, whatever. How does she know? And he was shocked and standing there. She came with some food and gave it. Yes, take this food. Food is okay, but how do you know that I burnt a crow just now? Oh, you did? That's what you said. Yeah, correct. How do you know? Oh, you want to know that. They're very casual about it. How did you know what happened just few minutes back or maybe an hour back? To know that, you go to the next village, there is a butcher, ask him. Butcher? Yeah, ask him. Why should I ask a butcher? No, go ahead, ask him, he'll explain to you. He forgot to even eat the food. He came, he went to the next village, and there was in the main street, there was a butcher who was cutting them. And he looked at him, this fellow, what is he going to tell me? So, he stood there and he smiled and said, that lady sent you. How do you know her? Yeah, it's about the crows, isn't it? Huh? How do you know what I'm going to ask? Wait. Whole day he was standing there, he finished his cutting and then he's giving it to people and all those things, and he couldn't bear that cutting the meat and all those things, he was standing there. At the end of the day, when he finished all his work and he washed his hand and said, come with me. So he went along with him and then went to his house and he said, sit there. He sat there and he went inside. Next to 1 hour he never turned up. She was waiting anxiously, what is going on here? Then after an hour or so he came out washing his hand. And, yes, what is it about? About how the lady knew about the crow that I burnt, and how do you know about that? Oh, that thing. See, that lady, when you went there to ask for food, she was not available easily, right? Yes. She was busy inside, yes. And she came and gave it to you, right? Yes. What was she doing? I don't know. What was I doing the whole day when you were watching me? You are doing your work, and then when I came home, do you know what I was doing? No. You went inside and I don't know what happened. I was doing my duty. What? I was serving my parents, who were very old. And I was going there to serve them. And the whole day I was doing my work, being a butcher. That is my swadharma. That is my way of life. And that is what my career is all about. So I was doing that work honestly. And I was taking care of my parents. And that was what I was doing. And the same way that lady was also taking care of her husband. Swadharma she was doing. And she had the same power or more than what you got in your tapas for many years. The siddhi that you got of burning a crow is tucham, insignificant, in front of the power she has to read the mind. The power I have to know the purpose of your coming. So he was completely shocked. So in our scriptures, what is given emphasis everywhere is do your duty. Irrespective of which kind of action that you are doing. Whatever is the duty that you are supposed to do it. Do not compare your duties with anybody else. Swadharma, nidhanam. That's why he says, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha api. Even if it is not of the quality, Shreya, it is greater than paradharmat, of doing some other else's work, even if you do it well. Su anushtitat. So this understanding is very important because we are all born with certain amount of skills and abilities. In the past, of course, we did not have the universities and colleges to educate ourselves into a particular field of action. The action that were given to an individual is what he or she has observed in his life from or his own parents. And those things that which you have observed, which has become part of your life, you are able to do it well, and that is where your duty is. Swadharme nidhanam shreya. Even dying performing your duty is better than doing anybody else with fear. Find your niche. You have to find what are the abilities and skills and knowledge and other things that I have. Not only that, in doing which I am comfortable. Like duck to water. I will not have any agitation or struggle in doing that. And that alone you can easily offer to the Lord. Because the very fact that you are trying to do something else means there is selfishness. Please understand the very technique behind this. Very logic behind this. Doing something else means you seek something else. Use something else for yourself. That is why you are changing your action or the field of action. So what is given to you, what according to your inclination, what according to your swabhava, what according to your characteristics, that which comes to you naturally, that you perform as an offering to the Lord. Then the mind is sure to be pure. So he addresses Arjuna, hey Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya, born Kshatriya. Not that because you are born Kshatriya, therefore you have to do. I am not saying that. But you are a Dhananjaya. You have excelled in that field. Duck to water, you are able to do it with effortlessness. Therefore, that field in which you have become effortless, that which in field in which you have no more struggle, and that action when you are performing, do it as an offering. That will bring you Shreyas. He asked this question, Yes Shreyasyan Nishchitam Bruhitan me. Please tell me that which will bring me the greatness. This is what it is. So in our life, we have to determine this in our mind. What is that which is swabhav, which is natural, which is a natural inclination in my own personality, doing which I am not at a struggle, doing which I can easily let go of my selfishness. That is the field which make you pure. It is an individual's journey. Nobody can prescribe it to you. And don't ape somebody else. That's what here says Arjuna. Don't think that you can become a sannyasin because you have a fancy for it. It should come naturally to you. And as you evolve, as you become mind has become pure, you naturally will give up things that is of no use to you. Just like a child which is growing up with teddy bear and all other various things, as it grows up, it keeps giving away, is it not? To his brother or his sister. Why? Because it finds no more value for it. At the time when it was buying it and acquiring it, was so much of joy. And later on as it grows, it just leaves it. Why? Because it has grown beyond that. His interests have changed, priority has changed. So also, when the mind has become pure, your priority will change. And you will naturally renounce things which you don't need. So the sannyasa is not an injunction, it is an expression of maturity. So while thus performing your own duties, when you become detached from the results, slowly you evolve to such an extent, you engage in action for perfection and quality and not interested in the selfish result that comes, and slowly you will evolve out of that as well. So then Arjuna is very convinced about this argument of karma yoga. He says, okay, if that is the case, everybody is in the process of evolving, everybody is interested to evolve obviously. What makes us commit crime then? What makes us commit sin? When he asks this question, Krishna laughs and says, committing sin is an expression of desire. It is a desire and anger that makes an individual commit sin. Nobody wants to be a criminal. Nobody wants to do murder. Nobody wants to really do something wrong. But unbearable is the pressure of desire and anger. Two people, sufficient to make the whole Boston come to a standstill, right? An individual interest, their personal vendetta or a vengeance. Is not that what has made the whole country come to a standstill or whole city? To commit a crime? So it is not the whole society has come and to make this. One single individual is sufficient. So Krishna says, Kama yesha krodha yesha rajo guna samudbhavaha. This kama and krodha, desire and anger, these are the two inner enemies. Mahashano mahapapma vidyena meha vairinam. Understand this, self-devourer. Mahashanaha, mahapapma, sinful it is. That is the one, this desire which itself is anger, is the one which is causing an individual to commit crime or sin. So in the past also, in the previous verse also, we saw that desire, when it is given up, then action naturally will not be there. And naturally such an individual, when the mind is quiet and still, the consciousness that is already there expresses itself in its beauty and joy. So Arjuna asks this question in this 11th verse. We see, where exactly the inner enemy called the desire is staying? Where exactly it is? Which part of my personality where desire is very active? So here Krishna answers that question in the 11th verse. Here we see, Indriyani mano buddhi asyadhishtana muchyate etair vimohayatyeshaha jnanamavritya dehinam. Desire is that which is behind every action of ours, which we saw. And the desire is the one which sustains our enthusiasm to live as well. Whatever we do, there is some amount of intention of gaining something out of it, some happiness. So Krishna clearly says, this desire resides in three places. sense organs, mind and intellect. Indriyani mano buddhi asya kamasya adhishtanam. The residing place, abode. So what we see is in this world, so many varieties of products and so many things are brought about because people want it. If you go to a mall, so many varieties of soap, so many varieties of this and so many varieties of eating things. And every day, every year, on the increase, the variety increases so much and you do not know what to buy. I give only one advice to you, to men folk especially, okay, women also. The easiest way to make sure that you moderately shop is to go to shopping only after dinner. You know that psychology? If you go after having a dinner to go to shop, you don't buy much. If you go to shopping after being hungry, you will buy more. Huh? That's a psychology. No, man also say, okay, that is good. You tell me, Swami, next time. Only when after dinner I will take my wife to shopping. Because it's a psychology of the human personality that when you are hungry, you are not only hungry, physically hunger, but mind also become hungry. I want this, I want this, I want this, more and more, more and more. When you after a food you go, it's already a little quiet and peaceful and happy, and then I don't need this, I don't need this. That's good. It is said that Socrates used to go to a shop every day and look at everything and he will not buy anything and come back. So 2-3 times when he went to the shopkeeper got very upset. Every time you come and you buy nothing. What do you do here? He said, I come here and look at all these things and tell myself why I am so happy without all these things. So you go there, tell yourself, I'm happy without this, I'm happy without this, I'm happy with it. Then you will not buy anything. But why do we buy? Because there is a desire. Three kinds. One is sensual attraction, emotional incompleteness, and intellectual curiosity. These are the 3 things that make us engage in the world with the desire. It is an intellectual curiosity or emotional discontentment or demands of the senses. Broadly speaking, these are the areas we do. When you are going to a movie, it is what? It's a sense gratification, or eating, sense gratification. Clothes that you buy, emotional satisfaction. Is it not true? No, I want to wear this so that I will look good. Even if I am not, but I will look good when I wear this. I want this thing, this coat I want, this shoe I want. Or this car I want to buy so that I will, my status, intellectual, people will look up to me. So it's either intellectual curiosity to make oneself appear good or make oneself appeal to the world, emotional satisfaction, or sense gratification. Indriyani, sense organs, manaha, emotion, buddhi. Asya adhishtanam. Therefore, the abode of desire is only these 3. Etaihi, by these, vimohayati, it deludes. Eshaha, kamaha, desire. Jnanamavritya, covering is wisdom. In spite of our studies and learning, we are still not able to curb our desire because it has the power to delude. That is what is called Maya. It shadows or overpowers your knowledge and projects what is not there. The desire is that which makes an individual think that an object other than himself is having more happiness. It projects that happiness and therefore you go for it. So you know, if you study scriptures like Upanishad Gita, you very clearly know that bliss and joy is inherently in me. I don't need anything to make me happy. But yet, at the time when you are in contact with or in the presence of something which is attractive to you, it projects that idea of happiness there. This is called sankalpa. Fanciful thinking. Sankalpa prabhavan kaman. That's why Krishna says, your desire is born out of mental fancy. In Mahabharata also it is beautifully said, Kamat janami te moolam sankalpat kila jayase. Hey Kama, desire, I know your root, your cause. What? You are born out of sankalpa. Sankalpa means fanciful thinking. In this world we find objects that are there, some people want it, some people want to get rid of it. You go to a jewelry shop and you are very fond of a particular jewelry, you want it, and that man who is there in the shop is so happy that you want it. Because you want to get rid of it. It's a dead stock for him. So the same object which you want is the same object he doesn't want. Where is the happiness? For him the happiness is in your money. For you the happiness is in the object. Where is the happiness then? Is it not true? The one who wants to get rid of it and the other one wants to take it. And that is how the whole world is. What you don't want, somebody wants it. What somebody don't want, he doesn't want, you want it. That is called economy. If nobody wants anything, then nothing will, everything will stand still. So really the happiness is not in the object. If it is so, he will never give you. You go to an Apple shop, so many iPads are there. You want it and he want to get rid of it. So where is the happiness? In iPad? So it is in the fancy in your mind that this will give me happiness. That thought, sankalpa, that makes you go there. So therefore Krishna says, etaihi, with these three demands, physical, emotional, intellectual, vimohayati eshaha, the desire makes you deluded, jnanamavritya, covering your understanding or wisdom, dehinam, of the individual. Therefore your inner enemy is not found outside somewhere, sitting inside you. This is the first enemy you must conquer. So Krishna in the end of third chapter he says, real karma yoga begins in the battle inside. The battle is actually taking place inside. The first day also I told you, the battlefield is not outside you, the battlefield is within you. That is between the negative forces and the positive values. That is the battle that we have to face. So that is the end of the third chapter where he explained the need for engaging in the path of action, which essentially brings about purity of mind. And without the purity of mind, knowledge will not stay. And without that knowledge, there cannot be steadiness in wisdom. And that steadiness in wisdom is what is called as enlightenment. So, purity of mind is essential for moving forward in the path of knowledge as well. So, in the fourth chapter as he begins, he says, this knowledge that I have told you, Arjuna, I have given it at the beginning of the universe. I gave this knowledge about karma yoga to the sun, the Lord's sun, the Aditya. And the Aditya gave to the first king called Manu. Manu gave to Ikshvaku. And this way, all the kingly royal people have gained this knowledge, because kings were seen to be the leaders of the society. When they have the right vision and action, the people will just follow. So this knowledge was given to them, and it has been passed on from one generation to another. But unfortunately, those who gave out the knowledge, they didn't practice. When thus a knowledge is passed on without being practiced, it loses its value. Everywhere we see, somebody may be very good in what he is talking about, but does not follow in his own life. Then a person who listens to it does not feel very, influenced by that. Then you are talking, but you don't do it. That's why we find many scholars or professors of philosophy, etc. But they are not saints. Why? They talk, saints live. Well, saints not necessarily a professor. Saints need not necessarily be a philosopher. But saints is one who has experienced what he is talking about. Jesus is a saint. Aristotle is not. Socrates is not. They are philosophers. They talk about it. There are many scholars in our own Hindu culture also, but few saints. Why? Because they just follow what they have understood. So then he said, this knowledge was passed on from generation to generation, but sakalena mahata yogo nashtaparantapa. Over a period of time, the knowledge lost its value because it was not followed by action. Therefore, Arjuna, every time then it happens, when because of the absence of the men of wisdom in the society, there is an increase of adharma or unrighteousness and decrease of righteousness. Whenever that happens, the imbalance takes place, I shall come to protect the people who are trying to live up to that knowledge and destroy those people who are against it. Therefore, he says in the verse 12, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. There are three different purposes why I come to this universe again and again. That is what is known as avatar. You've seen the movie Avatar. Avatarati iti avataraha. Through tarati means to move or to travel. Ava means coming down. Avataranam means to descend. So the Lord's nature is to descend to this world. Our nature should be to uddharanam, to go up to His nature. So Lord alone can take avatar, we cannot. We should do uddhar, to go up to His nature. So we are not avatars, okay? Don't worry about it. We are only not, it is incarnation, they call it incarnation, right? We are only rebirth, no incarnation. We are only reincarnation. Because in this country, everybody is inside the car, and therefore this nation is incarnation. So, Lord alone can take incarnation. We only take rebirth. So, the Lord, when He comes down, He has a clear about His purpose. From the day one He walks in, He knows. Whereas in our case, after 60, 70 also, we do not know why actually I am here. Look at Shankaracharya and such people. This 16 years he has more or less finished half of his job. 32, quit. Finished. Done. Swami Vivekananda, 40 years over. Why? Because they have very early in their life, they have understood the purpose. And they intensely work until the body falls dead. Finish the work. And we drag along, and even when we are 60, 70, we just not clear, why am I here? And in fact, many people ask you the same, why are you here? Shankaracharya says, when you are young, you are playing, about balastavat krida saktaha, because you are behind games and sports and other things. Tarunastavat taruni saktaha, when you are young, you are behind cocktail and ponytail, so you are just going around doing that. So, balastavat krida saktaha tarunastavat taruni saktaha. And when you become old, what are you thinking about? I should not have married him. I made a mistake. Vruddhastavat chinta sakta. Worried. Regretful. What the mistakes you have done, you keep on thinking about it. Parame Brahmani kopina sakta. Nobody bothered about Brahman. Shankaracharya says nobody really interested in knowing the truth. So, Bhagavan is one, what is an incarnation? Where they know exactly why they have come and they are stuck to that purpose. But here he says clearly, these are the three purposes why I came. Sadhunam paritranaya. Protect the people who are doing the good. Dushkridam vinashaya. To destroy the people who are against that dharma. Then third one is dharma samsthapana arthaya. To establish what is right. Now he says to Arjuna, I am going to do that through you. By talking to you about dharma, I am establishing dharma here. I am not just talking to you, he says. I am talking to the entire human kingdom so that forever they know what really dharma is. And at the same time, through you, I am going to destroy all those people who are against it. That is destroying vinashaya cha dushkrutam. And protect those people who are walking the path of dharma and protect them. Paritranaya sadhunam. For this yuge yuge sambhavami. In every age I come. So it is not, many people say, Swamiji, I think in that case, this is the right time for him to come. Everywhere there is so many bad things are happening, and why is he not coming now? So the only answer is, he wanted to come, but so long as good people like you are there, he won't come. Even you go away, nobody is there to ask that question, then he will come. Because nobody is even thinking about it. Then only he will have to come. Nobody even bothered about this. So here what we see, the avatar or the descending nature of the Lord, descendants of the Lord takes place to establish what is dharma. I told you about what is dharma. Dhru dharati means that which upholds. The sun is hot. It is not somebody told it to be hot. It is its dharma. It is its nature. Fire is burning. Fire burns. That is its nature. So a nature of a thing is that in the absence of which it doesn't exist. Gurudev used to give this as an example. What is nature? A nature of a thing is that in the absence of which it cannot exist. Like sugar is sweet. The sweetness is what makes the sugar, what sugar is. And if say, I'll give you sugar without no sweet, then you don't call it as sugar. Then many people say, Swamiji, do you eat sweet? Yes. But I thought you are diabetic. No. Why do you say? Because all those people who wear this cloth are diabetic. No, it's not like that. That is not our dharma. But I made a sweet without any sweet. Then you don't call it as a sweet. Then the sweet must be that it's sweet. Sugar must be there in that. Then only it is sweet. So then, if objects have got their nature, what is your nature in the absence of which you don't exist? What is your dharma? We saw earlier Swadharma, right? Swadharma is different from Swarupa Dharma. Swadharma is what you are expected to do. Swarupa Dharma means what you are. What is your Swarup? What's your nature? So what you do, what you are supposed to do is Swadharma. What you are supposed to be is your Swarupa Dharma. So that is the reason later on we'll see that Krishna says from Swadharma to Swarupa Dharma is your spiritual path. From what you do to what you should be. That is why earlier, finally what he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. That means that you reach your Swarupa Dharma. So presently we are busy with Kamya Karma. What we desire to do, what you like to do, what you wish to do. From there, the transition is from what you wish to do to what you have to do. From what you have to do to be what you are supposed to be. So from Kamya Karma to Swadharma to Swarupa Dharma. This is how the path is laid out. So when I say sugar is sweet and in the absence of that sweetness, sugar doesn't exist. Fire is hot. In the absence of heat, that fire is only Las Vegas fire. If you go to Las Vegas, there are fire, but you people walk on that. If you go to the Mirage, you have gone to the Mirage? Anyway, I am coming from that area, which you don't know. There are some, various casinos are there. It looks like fire, but it is not a fire. That's why it's called Mirage. Because it appears to be something, but actually it is not. That Mirage word comes from the Sanskrit word Maricha. Maricha, you know who it is? Right? In Ramayana, the one who appeared to be a golden deer, but actually he is not. That is called optical illusion. That in Sanskrit known as Maricha. Marumarichika means optical illusion. That is taken in English as mirage. Mirage is an optical illusion. Anyway, so the fire in the absence of being hot, it's not fire. So in the same way, apply to yourself. In the absence of which you are not. That is your swarup. That is your nature. So, without the hand I can be, without the body I can be, but without that something I cannot be. What is that? My own being. Sat Swarupa, Chit Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa. That Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa Atma, in the absence of which I cannot be. No living can be. No living being can be. So that Atma Swarupa is Mama Swarupam, Nija Swarupam. So Krishna says that I am here to establish that dharma also here. That Swarupa Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Sambhavami Agege. Again and again I have to come and remind the people that you finally have to reach your Swarup, your real nature. That is why he not only talks to Arjuna about what he has to do, but what he has to be finally. He gives Atma Jnanam also here. It is not just a jnanam about knowledge about what he is supposed to do in the battlefield, but ultimately it shows the path. That is where you have to reach. So for that reason, yuge yuge sambhavami, again and again I'll come back, because people tend to forget this. Our problem is this forgetfulness. In the forgetfulness of our own real nature, we take up to the unreal nature of ourselves. Identifying with the physical body and individual personality, emotion and thoughts and ambitions and goal, and therefore we are totally distracted from our real goal. So the realization, when you say it is real I, wanting to remain in that real I, and what we are presently is falsization. We are remaining in our false identity. And from false identity to real identity is that path. So that is the reason Krishna says, I come back again and again and remind you about this. All the saints are there, or were there, or will be there, only to remind us again and again what exactly we have to do. Their job is to remind us. Just like waking up a person who is dreaming. He is in the dream, is crying about because of his own self-created afflictions and self-created delusions. So when you are looking at somebody who is lying down there dreaming and crying, what do? You wake him up, isn't it? Hey, wake up. So when he wakes up, yes, why are you crying? You are creating your own illusion in your head and crying. Oh, but it's good, let me sleep. That is our case. Even though we are woken up, but we are not ready to wake up completely. Why? Because we are enjoying even the tragedies of life. That is a tragedy of life. That we are enjoying even that which self-created illusions, we enjoy that also. I understand if you are eating rasgulla, not rasgulla, something else will take. If you are eating rasgulla and somebody wakes you up, wait, let me finish the whole bottle. No, why are you waking me up? But when we are going through the suffering and somebody tries to wake up, we are not ready to wake up. Uttishtata jagrada prapya varan nibodata. That's what Kathopanishad says. Get up, wake up. And then gaining the right knowledge and master, learn. So here Krishna says, I have come down to make that happen, wake you up and give you the right knowledge. Now, when it comes to action, there are varieties of things to do in our life. Krishna says, there are three things you should understand. What to do, what not to do, how not to do. Action, prohibited action, and inaction. This you should understand, because essentially you must transform yourself from doing to not doing, because he is already paving way to how to become actionless. So therefore here he says in the next verse, we read verse number 13, Karmanya karmaya pashyet akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayukta krishna karma krita. Karma, vikarma, akarma. These are the three important things he talks about in the chapter 4. Karma means what your duties are, what you should do. Vikarma, viruddha karma, that which you should not do, prohibited. And akarma, how to raise to the level of actionlessness. Now, this once you realize what is actionlessness, then you know how to be actionless in the midst of action. That is why he says a person who is able to remain actionless in the midst of action is called a wise man. A man of wisdom is one who is able to recognize the nature of actionlessness while engaging in action. Yesterday I gave you this example that when you are watching a movie, when you are seeing the movie on a wall, the movie is moving, but what is not moving is the screen. If the screen is also moving, you will not be able to see the movie. Right? You are able to see the movie because there is a movementless wall. In the same way, all our actions are in the form of caused by desires, I told you. The desires are nothing but in the form of continuous thoughts that are happening in our mind. So, Gurudev used to say, vasanas or intentions that are there in our causal body, Anandamaya Kosha, comes to become a thought disturbance. And the thought disturbance creates the desire, and then desire becomes the physical action. Those the thoughts that are there, that is why when you are in sleep, where there are no thought disturbances, you are not desiring anything, no action takes place. Let us say that you are looking at something, let us say a particular thing which you are very interested in, maybe some computer or whatever it is you would like to buy or something. At that time you got a call from your brother and he says that I met with an accident, please, you know anybody who can come and help me and etc. When he suddenly calls, your mind immediately races to find out who can help him or how fast I can go, etc. At that time, still your eyes are watching that object of your desire, but the thought is not about that. Your thought is about something else. Even though the object is there, you are not having relevant thoughts that are there to enjoy that object. Why? The thoughts are now directed towards something else. So, it is very clear, the objects by themselves cannot create desire. It is the relevant thoughts that are flowing towards that object that is creating the desire. So, therefore, world is not to be blamed for what it is. Vedanta is not talking about the world being dukkham. No, that is only Buddhist idea. Sarvam, shanigam, sarvam, dukkham. The world is not created in trouble to you. The world of objects and arrangements does not trouble you. It is the priority that you have in your mind that troubles you. I used to give this example that one day a man was sleeping in his house and in the middle of the night he suddenly woke up and looked at the next house. It is burning, fire. Oh my God, come on, get up, all of you. Because he owned that house also. He wakes up all his children, come on, let us put off the fire, take some water and call 911. And they were so agitated and disturbed, and he was going and throwing water, etc. And he called all his 3 children, and 2 of them got up and helped the father, and the third one was standing there doing nothing. What, you're foolish or what? Come on, help me. So the boy smiled. Why you are smiling? Daddy, you forgot? What I forgot? That you sold the house only last week? Yes, let us go to sleep. Now, see, not that he will go to sleep, but then he realized that because he has forgotten that he no more owns the house, he has an identity or attachment to the object because he thinks he still owns it, because he has been owning it for many years. The moment that he is replaced by the thought that I don't own it anymore, agitation is gone. So what happened? Situation remained the same. Priority changed. Attention changed. Thoughts has changed. Is it not? So objects in the world by themselves cannot enslave us. So long as our mind is weakened by them, surely the objects will have a spell over us or power over us. So here Krishna says, recognize that the thoughts that are there in your mind are more powerful than the objects outside there. So this is called the inner journey. Come closer further now. Thoughts happen on what background? Every thought I am conscious of. Is it not? Every thought that passes through in my mind, I am conscious of. I choose whether to give importance to the thought and act or not to give importance and let it go. How many of you want Starbucks coffee now? Raise your hand. Now I put your thought in your head now. Now I think the Swamiji will finish early and then so that they will give you some Starbucks coffee. Now the thought of Starbucks coffee, when it comes to your mind, you have a choice to give importance or not to give importance. That choice is yours. If you don't have the choice, you are lunatic. What's the difference between lunatic and psychotic? Lunatic creates thoughts, creates his own castle, and a psychotic goes and lives there. And psychiatrist is the one who collects the rent for that. So, if you think that you cannot let go of your thoughts, you are in real trouble. And a lot of people make money out of it. One person went to a psychiatrist and said, every day when I get up in the morning, I thought there is something under my bed. So I go under the bed. When I go under the bed, I think something is above my bed. I go above the bed, I think something is behind it. So I go on like that, I am going crazy. So what do I do? So the psychiatrist says, I think it's a serious problem. You come to me for at least 5 weeks and twice a week and I will correct the problem. How much I have to pay? $100 per visit. Okay. And then he never went. So then after some time, the doctor happened to meet this patient in some place. Hey, what happened to your problem? I told you to come, you never came. I solved it in $10. How? Cut the legs of that bed. It's a simple problem solved. There's nothing under to go anymore. Now, see, when you give importance to your thought, you have to act. The choice is there, therefore, for you to give reality to the thought or not. If you don't have that choice, you are in trouble. So some of the thoughts, when you give reality to them, they keep repeating. That is how people get occupied. Even is it not in the newspaper or in the TV ads, they won't show it once. Again and again and again. Why? You should not forget this. Washing powder. See? There are so many washing powders out there. Why are you saying Nirma now? Because you have been brainwashed that way. Because you are told from the day, for so many years you have been told same thing over and over and over and again. Isn't that true? Brainwashed. So when we have the choice and when we don't make the choice, the thought will overpower us. So here Krishna says, what is that which is behind the thought? On what platform the thoughts are appearing? You said that you are conscious of every thought. That means what? There is consciousness in every thought. This is said in the Upanishad very clearly. Pradibodha viditam madam amrutatvam hi vindate. In Kena Upanishad. In every thought, there is the presence of consciousness. In fact, consciousness is the subject of every thought. So, the thought which is having two aspects, the subject and the object, we focus on the object of the thought and not the subject. And the subject of the thought is always the same, I. The object of the thought can be anything. I am angry, I am upset, I want this, I don't want this, I want to go, I like this, I don't like this. All these are all objects of the thoughts. So, we as individuals, when we have focus upon the only object of the thought and forget the subject, the object takes you away from where you are. And you travel with the object, it takes you to the world. So Krishna says, if you can in every thought focus on the subject of the thought, you are the wise person. Meaning, in action, inaction. Karmani akarma yaha pashed. Yaha, he who pashed sees what? Karmani, in action, akarma. Just like that screen which is actionless, on which all action is taking place, when you shift your attention from this movie to the movementless, what happens? You are not going to be moved by anything. The movie will become waste. Now in the next to you, your wife will be crying about looking at the same thing and you look at the wall. Why are you crying? Oh, they see that heroine being beaten up. Where? Only I see the wall. No, I don't want you to be like that. What I'm saying is just an example. Where the karma is, action is seen, understanding that action that is seen is happening on the wall of actionlessness. Similarly, in the presence of consciousness alone, all the thoughts appear. It is very difficult for us at this present moment to let go of the thoughts, but it is relatively easy to shift your attention. Shift your attention to this actionless self on whose background alone the active thoughts are taking place. And therefore, the identification with the thoughts alone creating the desire and action. So, to come out of the clutches of action, you have to remove the desire. To come out of the desire, you must let go the object. To let go the object, shift your attention. See the technique? So Krishna says, he who is able to let go of the action through attention upon the action less, he is buddhiman. While engaging in the world also, I am not the doer. Pashyan, Shrunman, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Shwapan, Shwasan, Pralaban, Visrudan, Jigran, Unmishan, Nimishan, Nabi, Indriyan, Indriyartesh, Vartante, Idimadvana Sajjate. Krishna says, an individual who has reached that level, Naiva Kinchit Karomi di Yukto Manyeta Tattvavit. A man of such understanding and maturity, he always knows, I am not the doer. Even while sleeping, walking, talking, eating, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, Pashyan, Srunvan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, all actions are going on. While doing so, Indriyani, sense organs, Indriyarteshu, in the objects, Vartante, they transact. My eyes are seeing, I am not. I mean, it will look a little scary to you, but that is what the point is. Eyes are seeing, I am behind the eyes. Body is talking, I am only a witness to this. Ears are listening, I am only a witness to this. Legs are walking, I am only witness to this. So Prakriti continues to be, but an individual shift his attention from the Prakriti to the Purusha, from the external activity to the internal presence. That's why he says, this wise person is one who has recognized his real nature, actionless self. This one practices in meditation. It is easy to practice in meditation because you are not engaged in any action. While you are sitting down, only the thoughts are happening there. There it is relatively easy to shift your attention from the object of the thought to the subject of the thought. Once one has become adept in that, while engaging in the world also is able to do that. Karmanya karmaya pashed. No, I'm just akarmanicha karmaya. Now you see, the next one he says is akarmanicha karmaya. Prakriti is constantly on the move. Every moment you are getting old. Swamiji, don't tell me that. Whether I tell you or not, you are getting to get old. Tomorrow I am not coming. Because by the time you go back home, you are 1.5 hours older than the time you came in. Meaning you are 2 hours closer to death. Why are you scaring me? I am not scaring you. Even though, what are you doing right now? What are you doing right? Nothing. Yet, are you not growing old? Everything is withering away. Your body is getting older. So, in the apparent inaction, there is a lot of action that is going on. When you are sitting here in the earth, do you see it moving? But is it not such a speed in which it is moving? Is it moving or not? At least we do not know. It's a faith, as I told you. It's a fact, we do not know, but that's what I was told. So, in inaction, there is action. So, he knows Purusha or Atman is not in action, in the midst of action. Prakriti is apparently inactive, but engaging in so much of action. This understanding should be very clear. One who recognizes actionlessness in action and action in inaction. This is a man of wisdom. Karmanya karmaya pashed akarmanicha karmaya. He who knows actionlessness in action and action in actionlessness. Sabuddhiman. He is a man of knowledge and wisdom. Manushyeshu, among all living beings. Sayuktaha. And such an individual does not stop acting. Krishna karma krit is doing all action. So Krishna does not say such an individual becomes such a wasteful, unproductive existence. No. He will engage in action as like anybody else, but with this understanding. Krishna warns very carefully in various places, and especially in this portion of Karma Yoga, that do not ever unsettle the mind of the people who don't understand this. Na buddhi bedam janayed ajnanam karma sanginam joshayed sarva karmani vidwan yukta samacharan. Meaning, a man of wisdom is one who does not disturb the understanding of the men who are ignorantly attached to action. Why? Because their whole purpose of action is desire. So let him engage with them shoulder to shoulder to show how to act without attachment. That's what our Gurudev, such other great saints have done. They showed us how to act with no attachment. Though they never stopped acting. Our Gurudev 40-45 years, 18 hours a day, continuously working, as though he is so much attached to his work. Showed us how to do without getting attached. When he was asked this question towards the end of his, towards when he was very fatigued, very old and frail, when he was asked this question, Swamiji, who created such a huge mission, Chinmaya Mission as an organization with so many people, so many schools and hospitals and this and that, who is going to take care of it after you leave? He said, who cares? I have done what I am supposed to do. If people want it, they will take care of it. That was his mission. He never got attached to it. He didn't even put another person to, okay, you take care of it. No, if you want, they will take care of it. I don't care. That is the man of vision who has action and inaction. Engaging in action, but no attachment to what he does. So, such an individual engages in all, Krishna karma krit, he is doing all that he has to do, but he remains in his own inaction, inactive self, the Paramatma, the self, the witnessing self at all times. That is the beauty we see in the Karma Yogis. It is not just detachment, it is establishment, abidance in that actionless self. That is where an individual becomes buddhiman, a man of wisdom. So Arjuna would obviously ask, what are the baby steps? What are the adjustments that I have to do for gaining this wisdom? So that he will see tomorrow in the next verse. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhat bhaved. Om shanti shanti shanti.